Welcome to the Vice-Chancellor's Awards for Excellence 2016-2017. We are live from the Teaching and Learning Complex at the St Augustine Campus of the University of the West Indies here in Trinidad and Tobago. My name is Tamara Williams and I am so pleased to be your host this evening for the live stream coverage of this prestigious event. Thank you, UWI family, alumni, friends, and well-wishers, and especially family and friends of tonight's distinguished awardees for tuning in to share in this special celebration of excellence with us. The Vice-Chancellor's Awards for Excellence program was established in 1993 by then Vice-Chancellor Sir Alistair McIntyre. The awards were started with the objective of recognizing the outstanding achievements by academic staff members in the areas of teaching, research, service of the university community, contribution to public service, and all-round excellence in a combination of two or more of these areas. In 2003, the scheme was expanded to include senior administrative and professional staff, and in 2012, a departmental award was introduced to recognize departments and units in the area of quality assurance excellence. This year, two new awards have been added. This time for excellence in multi-campus research collaboration, known as the One-UWI Award, and another for excellence in international collaboration, referred to as the Globalisation Award. Since its inception, awards for excellence have been presented at ceremonies rotated among the UWI's landed campuses. Now in its 24th year, this prestigious ceremony takes the total number of awardees to 126. And the St Augustine Campus has had the honor of hosting the Vice-Chancellor's Awards for Excellence for at least 6 prior occasions. Being no stranger to hosting, it is indeed our pleasure to have you in our company this evening. All awardees, having proven themselves exemplars in their respective pursuits, are presented with a citation and a monetary prize. Allow me to walk you through this evening's program. The formal part of the ceremony begins with an academic procession. It will be led by a marshal, followed by the awardees, the university registrar, public orator, pro-vice-chancellor graduate studies and research, principals, and the vice-chancellor. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us this evening. If you're only now tuning in, we are live from the Vice-Chancellor's Awards for Excellence at the UWI St Augustine Campus, and I do hope you enjoy sharing this evening's ceremony with us.
Please be seated. Chancellor, Mr. Robert Bermudez, we're very pleased to have you, sir, for your first Vice-Chancellor's Award. Vice-Chancellor Sir Hilary Beckers, our Chair of Campus Council, Mr. Hewitt Williams, our distinguished awardees and their families, Dr. Jacqueline Bridge, Professor Chris Ora, Professor Ian Humberton, Dr. Indra Harak Singh, Professor John Agard, and Professor Alafia Samuels. We can start by congratulating them. Pro-Vice Chancellor, Graduate Studies and Research, Professor Dale Weber, who also is the chair of the University Selection Committee. We pause to welcome Minister Lovell. Thanks for being with us, sir. Pro-Vice Chancellor, Planning, Professor Denzel Williams, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Campus Principal, Cave Hill, Professor Udine Barito, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Campus Principal, Mona, Professor Archibald MacDonald, our host, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor Brian Copeland, Deputy Campus Principal, Professor Inda Narayan, Campus Registrar, Mr. Richard Saunders, Campus Bursar, Ms. Andrea Taylor-Hanna, Campus Librarian, Mr. Frank Sudin, Deputy Campus Principal of Cable, Professor Landis, Acting Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Mr. Kurt Myers, Deans, Heads of Department, members of the senior management, members of staff, students, and colleagues from our sister campuses, members of the private and public sectors, members of the media, and our specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm William Ighton. My task this evening is to guide you through this evening's proceedings, and I start by warmly welcoming you to these award ceremonies. The Vice-Chancellor Award for Excellence is at the top of our formal recognition program in the university. And annually, we celebrate and recognize excellence in teaching and learning, research, in administration, and this year, for the first time, we have 2 new awards, which I'm sure the chair of the selection committee would elaborate on and explain. Any good organization has to have a proper recognition system in place. And I'm proud to say that we at the University of the West Indies have been practicing this form of recognition for quite some time. However, more recently, we are finding that in more engaged workplaces, there's also a form of recognition called peer-to-peer recognition. And when that is actually working properly, you know that you have a highly engaged workforce. And we know the benefits that attend a highly engaged workforce. This evening, I would like to shine the spotlight on a member of my staff who is doing an amazing job in this area of peer-to-peer recognition. Her name is Licia Sawyers, and she's my executive assistant. And I'd highlight 2 of the activities that she has single-handedly promoted in the Office of Admin with a view to increasing the level of same peer-to-peer recognition and employee engagement. The first is she has a board of appreciation. So anybody she sees in the Office of Admin and the wider Vice-Chancellery whom she thinks is doing something beyond the call of duty, she captures the moment and has a photograph placed on the wall of appreciation. And more recently, she has been creating or attempting to establish a kindness society at the Vice-Chancellery. And with that in mind, she has earmarked next week as the week for random acts of kindness. I really hope it catches like a wildfire, and we have random acts of kindness throughout our university. It's going to be a different place. So let's applaud them. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to invite our host principal, Professor Copeland, to formally welcome you to this evening's proceedings. Professor Copeland.
Thank you very much. Chancellor, Mr. Robert Bermudez and Ms. Usha Miraj, Vice-Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, Chair of the UWI St Augustine Campus Council, Mr. Ewart Williams, Honorable Lovell Francis, Minister in the Ministry of Education, distinguished awardees, Dr. Jacqueline Bridge, Professor Chris Ura, Professor Ian Hambleton, Dr. Indra Haraksing, Professor John Egard, Professor Alafia Samuels, and their families, friends, and well-wishers, Pro-Vice-Chancellor of Graduate Studies and Research and Chair of the Selection Committee, Professor Dale Weber, Pro-Vice-Chancellor and Campus Principal, Cave Hill Campus, Professor Eugene Barito, Pro-Vice-Chancellor and Campus Principal, Mona Campus, Professor Archibald MacDonald, Deputy Campus Principal of our beloved St. Augustine Campus, Professor Indar Ramnarayan, Note University Registrar, Professor Indar Ramnarayan, University Registrar, Mr. William Iton, Campus Registrar, Mr. Richard Saunders, Campus Bursar, Ms. Andrea Taylor-Hanna, Campus Librarian, Mr. Frank Sudin, Acting Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education, Mr. Kurt Mears, Deans and other members of senior management and staff of the UWI St Augustine Campus and our sister campuses, members of the private and public sectors, members of the media, and all our specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, specially invited guests, members of the media, good evening. That's the end of my speech. I take great pleasure in welcoming you all to the St. Augustine campus of the University of the West Indies for the presentation of the 2016-2017 Vice-Chancellor's Awards for Excellence. For those of you who may not know, and I know the registrar just filled you in a bit, this ceremony has been a university tradition for more than 20 years and is considered to be the most prestigious award of the University of the West Indies. It is rotated annually among UWI's 4 campuses, but the St. Augustine campus has had the great honor of hosting this premier event for 2 consecutive years, 2016 and now in 2017. This has happened because, and I say this with great pride, the St. Augustine campus has once again taken the majority of the awards, and I think that deserves a lusty round of applause. I extend a special welcome to our Chancellor, Robert Bermudez, who is attending this ceremony for the first time. And Chancellor, I know for certain, this esteemed occasion will be the perfect introduction to the extraordinary achievements of our UWI staff. Applause again, please. I have it written on my... So before I go any further, I also congratulate the 6 recipients of the 2017 Vice-Chancellor's Awards for Excellence, Dr. Jacqueline Bridge, Professor Chris Ura, Professor Ian R. Hambleton, Dr. Indra Haraksing, the Project for Ecosystem Services, Department of Life Sciences, St. Augustine Campus, and the George Allen Chronic Disease Research Center at the Cave Hill Campus. Today we celebrate and recognize your exceptional accomplishments. You stand out as exemplars in your respective fields, whether it be for teaching, research, administration, service to the university community, contribution to public service, or all-round excellence. You should all therefore feel a deep sense of pride in your achievement as your work has endured the scrutiny of your peers who have deemed you worthy of this accolade. Bear in mind as well that the University of the West Indies, across our 4 campuses, employs thousands of academic and administrative staff, all of whom are eminently qualified in their respective fields. So to be named the recipient of the Vice-Chancellor's Awards for Excellence is absolutely no easy feat. I am pleased by the addition of 2 new award categories this year. First, the Excellence in International Collaboration, Globalisation Award, and this is awarded this year, the first year, to the Project for Ecosystem Services, Department of Life Sciences at the St. Augustine Campus. Receiving the award will be Professor John Agard, the principal investigator. The second new award is the Excellence in Multi-Campus Research Collaboration, the One-UWI Award, which is awarded to the evaluation of the CARICOM Heads of Government 2007 Port of Spain Non-Communicable Diseases Summit Declaration. Receiving the award will be Professor T. Alafia Samuels, Principal Investigator at the George Allen Chronic Disease Research Center, Keyville Campus. My hope is that your accomplishment will inspire, motivate, and encourage others across our campus to strive for excellence in all that they do. And in so doing, continue to foster a culture of excellence which this regional university has established for nearly 7 decades. So I close by quoting the late, great Martin Luther King, who said, "If I cannot do great things, I can do small things in a great way." The habit of excellence, as displayed by all of our recipients, starts with a series of small acts that lead to greater acts of exploration and of perseverance. We must encourage excellence at every stage so that we continue to build a great university for our Caribbean community. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you once again. Welcome to the UWI St Augustine Campus.
Thank you, Principal Copeland, for your warm welcome. Please permit me to recognize our former chair of the selection committee, Professor Wayne Hunt. Glad to have you with us, Wayne. I now invite his successor, Professor Weber, to bring his remarks.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Chair of the Campus Council, Pro-Vice-Chancellors, Principals, other members of the platform, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Honorable Lovell Francis, Minister in the Ministry of Education, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. The Vice-Chancellor's Award for Meritorious Performance was the brainchild of the Honorable Sir Alistair McIntyre, former Vice-Chancellor, and was a result of the desire to recognize and reward outstanding performance of academic and senior administrative staff above and beyond the annual merit which is given to employees. In keeping with the Vice-Chancellor's expressed wish that this award be made for excellence and not just for meritorious performance, it was launched in 1993 as the Vice-Chancellor's Award for Excellence. And we have excellence here this evening. Since the award scheme started in 93-94, there have been a total of 450 applications that have been considered by campus committees, resulting in 229 applications being considered by the university committee, which is the second step. Today, the number of awards that are being granted takes up to 126 in total. You are now in a very select group. Each year, the process begins with an announcement in November by each campus registrar inviting nominations. The campus registrar receives and checks all nominations for completeness and adherence to the requirements, which are quite stringent, then sends them on to the faculty or administrative subcommittees for the first screening. Arising from this first round, the results are then sent to the campus selection committee, which then meets and makes a shortlist of the best nominations. These are forwarded to the university registrar for consideration by the university selection committee, whose composition consists of external lay members and internal university members. At this point, I would like to pause and thank the committee members who read every nomination, and some of them were 2 to 3 inches thick. Every comment and had a view on each. They brought these to the selection committee and did so in an organized and impartial manner. The members of the committee were Professor Wayne Hunt from the Keyville campus, who taught me everything I know about this program and a lot more. Professor Rainford Wilkes from the Epidemiology Research Unit, TMRI Mona, Professor Anthony Harriott, Director of the Institute for Criminal Justice and Security, Mr. Maurice St. Rose, retired Managing Director, Eastern Caribbean Financial Holdings Company in St. Lucia, Dr. Joycelyn Massin, Retired Regional Program Advisor, UNIFEM, and Honorary Professor Salises Cavehill, Dr. Heather Cato, Dean, Faculty of Humanities and Education, St. Augustine, Mr. Milton Samuda, Attorney at Law in Samuda and Johnson, Ms. Cecile Clayton, the UWI Alumni Representative, and Mr. William Iton. We co-opted 3 members for our committee, PVC Ambassador Richard Bernal for Global Affairs, because we now had a global award to consider. PVC Professor Alan Cobley from the Board of Undergraduate Studies and Ms. Valda Alain, Executive Director of the Barbados Accreditation Council, are members co-opted for the departmental awards, which I will comment on shortly. I would like to also thank publicly Ms. Lloyd Graham, who serves as Secretariat to the committee, kept us all in line and gave us our minutes and our decisions promptly. The University Selection Committee meets in May each year, and we look forward to it, because it is a culmination of a lot of information which tells us what our colleagues have been doing so that they can excel. The prizes are awarded in October, November, as we are met here. For the 2016-17 year, the Campus Selection Committee received and considered 35 applications in total, sent forward 18 of those, so you see the attrition, for consideration by the Selection Committee at the university level. Today we are met to celebrate the 6 who we thought are those who excelled. The individual awards, up to 8 awards may be given in recognition for accomplishments, and it is an incentive for continued excellent performance. Awards are valued at $5,000 each in the following core areas: teaching, research, service to the university community, contribution to public service, and all-round excellence in a combination of 2 or more of the aforementioned areas. The departmental awards were started sometime later by then Vice-Chancellor Harris. Only 1 award is given each year, and it's valued at $10,000. It is made to any department demonstrating the highest commitment to quality principles, service delivery, and operational excellence. The department must have been through a quality assurance review process over the preceding 5 years. Since its introduction, the Department of Life Sciences at St. Augustine, and if it sounds familiar, you will hear it again this evening, won the first award. CERMES at Cave Hill won the second award, and Electrical and Computer Engineering at St. Augustine won the third award. The University Selection Committee did not consider any cases this year, although campus committees may have considered and did not send forward. On to the new awards. Under the vision of our current Vice-Chancellor, Sir Hilary Beckles, 2 research-based competitive recognition schemes were developed in 2015. They formed a part of the invitation for applications for the competition in the 2016 year. They are the Vice-Chancellor's Award for Excellence in International Collaboration, Globalisation, valued at $10,000. The intent of this award is to recognize those staff and colleagues who actively engage in international collaboration to advance knowledge globally, address significant regional and international development challenges, or achieve capacity development of the collaborating partners or their stakeholders, and through this collaboration, enhance the international recognition of the UWI and its global presence. 1 award may be made to any staff or group of staff who have participated in international collaboration. The second award, the Vice-Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Multi-Campus Research Collaborations, which we also call the One-UWI Award, is also valued at $10,000. The intent of this award is to recognize and reward those UWI researchers who participate in multi-campus research to implement high-quality projects that make a significant contribution to the advancement of knowledge and/or address a significant regional development challenge. Often, with the support of regional grants won competitively from international funding agencies. 1 award is made for the multi-campus award to each research team who has conducted such research with significant outputs. All of these awards are about excellence, and there is much excellence within the UWI, which we need to celebrate and communicate. I urge colleagues to nominate and apply for these awards, as I have encountered in departments, in units, in centers and institutes, best practices, wonderful, stimulating research, and research that will have phenomenal impact. The problem is we don't have enough applications. I urge you, therefore, to join with us as we celebrate today's awardees and we bask in the glory. Thank you.
Thank you, PVC Weber, and I'm sure you now have a full understanding of how the process, how robust and rigorous it is. So again, you recognize those who are successful. Everybody, we applaud all the entrants because they are making a significant effort and a significant contribution. But those who see it through to the end and are here this evening obviously have a special place in our hearts today. It is now my pleasure and task to invite our Vice-Chancellor, in whose honor these awards are made, to address us. Vice-Chancellor.
Thank you, Registrar. Chancellor Bermudez and Ms. Muraj, Chairman Williams, and our Principal, Minister Lovell, my former colleague, Pro Vice-Chancellors Hunt and Carrington. It's good to see you both. All of my colleagues from the executive management team, or principals and Pro Vice-Chancellors, or bursars, or registrars, our excellencies of the diplomatic corps, members of the media, and students, and most importantly, our honorees, our awardees, their families, their friends, and their supporters. Very good evening, everyone. You've heard a great deal of the context within which these awards are offered, and my role is always to begin by historicizing everything. I was in a room 25 years ago when Vice-Chancellor McIntyre brought this proposal for discussion and approval. It's hard to imagine it was 25 years ago. But the conversation back then was very, very interesting. There was some resistance to the initiative on the basis that, you know, Caribbean folks, our university, we should not be blowing our own trumpets. Then there was a view which says that we have to give up this British legacy, this refusal, this reluctance to celebrate your own when you are doing well. And we must become more like the Americans, be very aggressive and very loud in marketing your achievements and letting the world know what you're doing. But there was that cultural discussion in our committee. And I recall the intervention of Professor Nettleford, who at the time was a very significant player in the UNESCO high echelons. And he asked a question. He says, how is it that wherever I go, I am hearing that UWI scholars are being awarded all over the world? All over the world, in universities, international agencies, UWI scholars are being celebrated. But when you look at their CVs, they're not being rewarded at home. How is that? And people in those institutions were asking this question, and UNESCO and UNIFEM, all over these major institutions, why is it that these people we are celebrating are not being celebrated by their own institution? And that was the critical intervention that carried the day. We are celebrating our own, and we hope that we celebrate them before other people do. Because we know that most of our distinguished scholars are on the path to international celebration. And it's good that we can put our own house in order. This event then is simultaneously a celebration and an expression of gratitude. Because it's the relation between the individual and the institution. Your remarkable achievements empower the institution. And we would like to imagine that the institution gives you an environment in which you can flourish. So it is a symbiotic relationship. And we hope that this is what will continue to build our institution in the years ahead. So it is therefore a celebration of principle, the principle of recognizing excellence within your own institution. And it's also the realization that persons, individuals with wives and husbands and children who have to make all of these sacrifices to go the extra the extra mile to get the high quality work done. We know what it's like. You go home, you have your domestic duties to take care of, but then you have to go into your study at midnight. And I know many of you go into your studies at midnight. Yes, no, no? And that's a sacrifice that academics know only too well. When the world is quiet and asleep, many of you have found that peace, finally found that peace to do the quality thinking that is required. That is the context within which we are both celebrating, and at the same time, we are giving gratitude. We thank you. All of what you have achieved is within the context of the excellence that this magnificent university has attained as we now go into our 70th year. 70 years of distinguished service to the people of the region and to the world. And we must not take it for granted. I can assure you that many of us in the management of this university, we travel all over the world. We go to universities all over the world. And when you introduce yourself as a UWI academic, there is a sense of delight because our global brand and quality is recognized, which is why the world headhunts our best professors. And I'm saying to you, do not be headhunted. We know you're all being headhunted. We know that because your quality is recognized, but we need you here. We need you here. But also too, our students can enter into programs in any university, anywhere in the world, and be embraced because there is a tradition that we have built. And you, honorees, have enabled us to take this tradition forward. This is our legacy. You are our luminaries, and this is our legacy. So congratulations to each and every one of you. I am so looking forward to hearing the reading of your citations. Thank you very much, and good night.
Thank you, Vice-Chancellor. And as he put it in context, the historical context, there was one thing that I guess he's too modest to publicize. If you go back to your program and you look at the very first year, 1993-94, there at the top of the list is Professor Hilary Beckers, Cable. I guess he would have that distinction of being the only Vice-Chancellor to have received the Vice-Chancellor Award. Ladies and gentlemen, we get to another first. We are at the point where we are going to present our awards, and it gives me immense pleasure to invite, for the first time in the role, our new public orator, Professor Christine Carrington.
Dr. Jacqueline Bridge, Department of Mechanical and Manufacturing Engineering, St Augustine Campus, Excellence Award for Teaching. Vice-Chancellor. 15 years ago, Dr. Jacqueline Bridge joined our St. Augustine campus in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, the same department where, in 1986, she completed her BSc in Mechanical Engineering before going on to her PhD in Theoretical and Applied Mechanics at Cornell University. After teaching engineering for several years at the University of Technology in Jamaica, where she also completed a diploma in education, she returned to us as a lecturer in the field of applied mechanics and vibrations. Her arrival had such an impact that it generated vibrations of its own. Not the unpleasant vibrations that result in wasted energy and unwanted sound, but the type that come from an expertly played, well-tuned instrument. Of course, Dr. Bridge is a mechanical engineer, not a musician. In her case, the instruments are her students' minds. Dr. Bridge's expertise lies in tuning these instruments so that when her students turn their thoughts to creating solutions to problems or to speak on their subject, beautiful sounds emerge. Ask them about Dr. Bridge, and they sing her praises. an amazing teacher, astounding knowledge, excellent, patient, enthusiasm, and infectious passion. They speak of her ability to simplify the most complicated theories and of how she helps them to achieve goals that they originally thought were beyond their reach. Dr. Bridge has been involved in 8 undergraduate and 2 postgraduate courses, including 2 innovative courses that she developed. Her courses are some of the most conceptually challenging with the largest class sizes. Despite this, and the fact that she has a reputation for challenging projects and examinations, her evaluations are consistently among the best in the department. The graduating mechanical engineering students awarded her with their best lecturer accolade 6 of the 7 times that the award was offered. The one occasion when she did not get the award was when she was away on leave for a semester. Dr. Bridges' success lies in the fact that she recognizes that teaching is not merely the transfer of information. Her goal as a lecturer is, quote, to ignite and sustain their enthusiasm to the degree that they are willing to invest time in dissecting the lecture, interrogating all the information, and are able to reassemble it in a manner that makes sense to them, end of quote. She uses every tool in the box to get them there. Conventional lectures, laboratory exercises, individual assignments, group projects, video tutorials, discussion boards, and other online activities, experimenting with different teaching methods in order to reach as many students as possible and to encourage active learning, critical thinking, and integration of knowledge. Dr. Bridge creates a comfortable atmosphere of mutual respect in the classroom and takes time to get to know her students. She is noted for being open to feedback and will readily adjust her approach or schedule to suit. She uses formal tools to evaluate the effectiveness of her teaching and has presented 5 research papers on engineering education. Only when her students have reached the level of understanding where they can relate the material she has presented to concepts learned in other classes and can confidently apply that knowledge to real-world problems is she satisfied that she has really taught them. Those undergraduate students whom she supervises for their final year projects, she supervises about 10 projects each year, can also look forward to developing improved time management and communication skills, an excellent attitude to hard work, and the capacity to work with all categories of staff. Her graduate research students describe her mentorship as thorough and developmental, appropriately instructive and directional, while leaving room for discovery and growth. In addition to her teaching activities, Dr. Bridge carries a full academic portfolio. She's an enthusiastic participant in academic advising, serves on a number of department and faculty committees, and represents her faculty on campus boards. She is also the residence manager for both Trinity Hall and Canada Hall. She also maintains a steady research output and regular conference participation, and she has provided her expertise to government and industry initiatives. In 2004 and 2007, Dr. Bridge received a special award from the Society of Tribologists and Lubrication Engineers for contributions to education. In 2014, her sterling performance was recognized with a UWI Guardian Group Premium Teaching Award and a UWI NGC Award for Outstanding Mentorship. Vice-Chancellor, to quote the words of one of Dr. Bridges' students, "The lecturer was born to teach. She excels at her job, and I commend her." It is my pleasure to present Dr. Jacqueline Bridge of the Department of Mechanical and Manufacturing Engineering at the St Augustine Campus for the Award for Excellence in Teaching. Professor Chris Ora, Department of Basic Veterinary Sciences, School of Veterinary Medicine, St Augustine Campus. Excellence Award for Research Accomplishments. Vice-Chancellor. In January 2012, Chris Ora arrived in Trinidad to a tropical, developing world climate that does not suit every import. He had no viable laboratory, no research equipment, and no grant money. There was concern. Chris was not the tropical variety of plant that the director of the veterinary school thought he had ordered. The common name Ora exists in Uganda, and Chris's documentation referred to a period of time spent there, so we can forgive the director for mistaking the variety. Would he wilt and have to be rushed back to the gentler climes of his native UK, like so many before him? No, not Christopher Anthony Leslie Ora. He quickly found his niche, put down roots, fertilized his own soil, and proved once again that he could thrive wherever he was planted. Which might also explain why he is so tall. Chris holds a B.Vet Med degree from the Royal Veterinary College, University of London, an MSc in Tropical Veterinary Sciences from the University of Edinburgh, and a PhD in Immunology from the UK's world-famous Pirbright Laboratory. After his MSc, he spent 2 years at the Immunology and Parasitology Department at the University of Yucatan in Mexico. Wellcome Trust Research Fellowships later funded postdoctoral positions at Glasgow Veterinary School and at Uganda's Makerere University. In Uganda, where Chris spent 3 years, he personally equipped and set up his own lab and generated an impressive 12 research publications before returning to Pirbright Institute as a staff member. At Pirbright, Chris was head and shoulders above the rest, head of external training, head of the African Swine Fever Reference Laboratory, acting head of the Division of Epidemiology, acting head of Pirbright Laboratory, head of the Non-Vesicular Reference Lab, and deputy head of the Vector-Borne Diseases Program. 8 years, $5.5 million worth of grants, 6 performance awards, 55 additional journal articles, and 1 book chapter later, he decided it was time for a change. He uprooted his wife and 3 children and moved to Trinidad. In the 5 short years that followed, he distinguished himself in all areas. On the research front, he established his laboratory and wrote grant proposals that yielded over $1.8 million in research funding. Of this, 1.4 was from the extremely competitive European Commission ACP Science and Technology grant, and a further $330,000 was from the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture. This was for his One Health, One Love, One Caribbean project, in collaboration with the FAO, PAHO, CIRAD, and CaribVet, with Professor Ora as the project leader. The project, which was awarded the UWI NGC Research Award in 2016, aimed to increase food security and animal health production in Caribbean countries by promoting a One Health approach to zoonotic and foodborne disease surveillance, diagnosis, and response. It used participatory methods to identify key constraints and issues at the animal-human ecosystem interface, and then developed and tested innovative One Health strategies to resolve them. The project trained a core of 30 One Health leaders from 12 Caribbean countries, installed novel, innovative diagnostic techniques in regional laboratories, initiated impactful research projects in 12 participating countries, and trained hundreds of first responders across the Caribbean in recognition and response to priority animal and zoonotic diseases. It also led to CARICOM approval and an endorsement of a One Health policy, the first such regional One Health policy in the world. And a 6-year One Health regional strategic framework is currently under approval. As a result, the UWI is now recognized as foremost in the world, and countries as far afield as Australia and Uganda have been in contact about replicating the project in their region. Closer to home, Professor Ora currently supervises 3 PhD, 2 MPhil students, and serves on the advisory committees for 5 others. He has also developed and supervised several undergraduate research projects. His graduate research students, who regularly win travel awards and grants, are investigating human and animal viruses of public health importance. one recently completed project supported by the UWI Research, Development and Impact Fund filled a very large knowledge gap in the Caribbean regarding priority viruses in poultry and swine, including H1N1, or also known as swine flu, which affects humans. The results facilitate science-based risk assessment strategies and interventions to prevent and control influenza viruses. Since 2012, Professor Ora has published another 37 excellent journal articles, 5 book chapters, 1 book, and 8 non-peer-reviewed articles. He has also presented 32 papers and invited seminars at conferences and workshops, and was involved in the organization of 15 regional and international workshops and conferences. In 2016, Professor Ora was recognized as the Faculty of Medical Sciences' most outstanding researcher. His research portfolio is strongly impacting in a range of sectors, including animal health and welfare, public health, food security and the economy, diagnostic capacity and capability, and health policy. And he has brought recognition and much-needed revenue to the UWI. Vice-Chancellor, it gives me great pleasure to present Professor Christopher Anthony Leslie Ora, outstanding scientist, inspiring teacher, and wise mentor, for the Vice-Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Research. May he continue to flourish, and may he never again be transplanted. Professor Ian Hambleton, the George Allain Chronic Disease Research Center, Cave Hill Campus. Excellence Award for Research Accomplishments. Vice-Chancellor, superlatives abound when people talk about Professor Ian Hambleton's work. Professor Alafia Samuels, Director of the George Allain Chronic Disease Research Center, where Ian is Professor of Biostatistics, writes that it is widely known that he is the best in biostatistics research methods in Barbados. Professor Clive Landis, another colleague from the center, and Cave Hill's deputy principal, goes even further, describing Ian Hambleton as simply the best biostatistician he has ever met. Others speak of him in similarly glowing terms. In this brief citation, I will try to give a sense of what Professor Hambleton has achieved and why he's regarded so highly by so many. The first thing you notice about Professor Hambleton's CV, first things you notice, are the amount of money he has secured for health-related research since joining the center, more than $8 million US, and his tremendous publication record, reflecting an exceptionally wide range of interests and expertise. He has published over 120 articles, including more than 25 in the last 2 years, in some of the world's most prestigious high-impact journals, such as The Lancet, Lancet Diabetes and Endocrinology, the Journal of Rheumatology, PLOS ONE, and the American Journal of Public Health. There are also 66 technical reports and book chapters, 17 published since 2014, and 30 since 2012. As if this weren't enough, he has also given nearly 70 presentations at international conferences, 20 of these in the last 3 years. These are extremely impressive figures by any measure. We all have to publish or perish, but at his current rate of productivity, Ian Hambleton is clearly determined to live forever. Professor Landis points out, however, that many status can be prolificy when they are servicing data sets produced by others. What makes Ian exceptional for a biostatistician is that he leads research in addition to servicing other people's projects, and lead he does. He came to the center 10 years ago from the sickle cell unit in Jamaica via Tanzania, already famous, and to borrow Wordsworth's phrase, trailing clouds of glory for his pioneering work on the Spanish Town sickle cell cohort, the oldest such cohort in the world. Professor Hambleton is particularly proud of this project in which he reconnected with over 3,000 people with sickle cell disease, spending many, many months driving around the Jamaican countryside to find defaulted patients in order to develop new estimates of lifetime survival for people with the disease. The hard work paid off, resulting in a widely acclaimed article in The Lancet. This enduring commitment to investigating and understanding sickle cell disease subsequently led to a series of publications in areas such as screening programs, the need for a national sickle cell disease registry in Barbados, and the efficacy of regular blood transfusions for managing chest complaints in those affected by the condition. However, the area he has really carved out for himself in the Caribbean and the African diaspora is related to health disparities. It is a remarkable work that has had a major impact on health and thus development in the Caribbean and beyond. It revealed that the Caribbean having had better health and fewer health inequalities in the 1960s compared to Central and South America, now has poorer health and more health inequalities. Professor Hambleton was also the lead author in a series of groundbreaking and influential papers exploring inequalities in life expectancy in the Americas and mortality rates in populations of African descent in the Caribbean and the United States. In addition to his myriad of activities, Professor Hambleton has been the driving force behind the Barbados National Registry for chronic non-communicable diseases, the Caribbean's only active population-based multi-disease registry, which has been a pathfinder for the region. He has developed and overseen data management at the center and is committed to sharing the information. To this end, with his Cave Hill colleagues, he is currently developing infrastructure for collecting, storing, and sharing electronic data across campus, the so-called Electronic Research Data Infrastructure, or ERDI. This links into the concept of high-quality research processes and will play a key role in facilitating ongoing health and development research. Professor Hambleton serves on a number of national, regional, and international public and scholarly bodies, including the enormously influential Cochrane Collaboration, for which he is both the hemoglobinopathies editor and the statistical editor. He is also the Caribbean representative on the WHO task force to develop sustainable cancer registration in Latin America and the Caribbean. In 2008, as part of the UWI 60th anniversary celebration, Ian was profiled as one of the 60 high-flying academics under 60 years of age and wrote a revealing vignette. It is worth quoting in full. Jakarta, 19 years old, a rucksack, $50 to make it to Singapore, and a body tired with dysentery. The solution? Cold beer. While quenching my mental thirst, I met another Brit, a NASA scientist. We chatted, exchanged anecdotes, his more interesting than mine. We moved on and never met again. But not before I had been fed, watered, and had my financial status improved by this person who asked for nothing in return. Generosity can be free. Strings need not be attached. And this is the lesson I have always remembered and attempted to emulate. Sounds corny, but I am at UWI because of the passion for what we are trying to achieve. I believe that no matter the resources or limitations, any healthcare study can meet the highest ethical and methodological standards. We owe it to our participants and we owe it to ourselves. End of quote. Nothing in the least bit corny about any of this. I think we can all agree. Although we trust he has since learned that cold beer is not the ideal cure for dysentery. The piece perfectly captures, better than any words of mine, his collegial spirit, his open-heartedness, and his pursuit of excellence in everything he does. That Professor Ian Hambleton, BA, MSc, PhD, this most modest, generous, and brilliant of scholars, should now be awarded our university's highest academic accolade seems to me entirely fitting. Vice-Chancellor, I present Professor Ian Hambleton for the Vice-Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Research. nice podium. Okay. Dr. Indra Haraksing, Department of Physics, St Augustine Campus. Excellence Award for Public Service. Vice-Chancellor, according to Al Gore, the pathway to solving the climate crisis is through the building of a massive grassroots army of men and women who will go out there and win the conversation on climate and persuade businesses and universities and towns to switch to renewable energy and to reduce emissions. Dr. Indra Haraksing enlisted in this army and joined the vanguard long ago, ceaselessly promoting the development and the use of renewable energy technologies both within and outside of the Caribbean. Dr. Haraksing has been talking for a long time. With the horrific evidence of climate change recently visited upon our Caribbean neighbors, more and more people are ready to listen. Dr. Haraksing holds a BSc in Physics and Mathematics, a diploma in Education, and a PhD in Physics focusing on solar energy, all gained at the UWI St Augustine Campus. In 2005, she joined the Department of Physics as a lecturer. She is a committed teacher with a full portfolio of academic duties, but her passion lies in reaching out and using her expertise to serve the public. She regularly organizes and delivers training in renewable energy, both locally and regionally, including most countries in the Caribbean, working closely with the embassies of Germany, the United Kingdom, and Korea on some of these initiatives. She is a founding member of the Caribbean Solar Energy Society and has served as secretary, treasurer, and since 1999 as president. The society conducts biannual conferences and training workshops, the most recent of which was in collaboration with the OAS on promoting energy efficiency in Haiti, with Dr. Haraksing as the lead trainer. The program targeted a broad cross-section of stakeholders, including decision makers, communications and media specialists, professional associations, and academics. Likewise, her other training activities engage individuals from a range of backgrounds: academics and technicians in Mauritius, ministry staff and government officials in Trinidad and Tobago, farmers in Barbados, and primary and secondary school teachers in St. Vincent and in Trinidad and Tobago. Dr. Haraksing has also served on boards and committees of a number of local, regional, and international bodies, including being the university representative on the Government of Trinidad and Tobago's Renewable Energy Committee, chair of the Monitoring and Evaluation Committee for a government project on solar water heating for the hospitality industry, a member of the Project Steering Committee of the Caribbean Renewable Energy Development Program, and a member of the Steering Committee and Council of the World Renewable Energy Network. Dr. Haraksing's expertise and valuable experience are well recognized, and she is regularly invited to participate in regional and international working groups and meetings. Through her efforts at special meetings of the Council for Trade and Economic Development dealing with energy and environment, the UWI was selected as the institution responsible for capacity building and training in the Caribbean. She has also been an invited speaker and panelist and received the Outstanding Scientist Award from the World Renewable Energy Congress in 2002. And she also received the International Pioneer Award for Solar Energy from the same body in 2008. Dr. Haraksing's charity begins at home. She serves on the UWI St Augustine Renewable Energy Committee and the Vice-Chancellor's Green Economy Advisory Group, with the goal of building capacity to provide green economy advisory services to governments and the private sector, both within and outside the Caribbean. She is now working to upgrade the UWI Solar Energy Lab to transform it into a state-of-the-art renewable energy facility where student research and public demonstrations can be carried out. The latter is funded via the Small Developing Island Renewable Energy Knowledge and Technology Transfer Network Project, a scheme involving universities from Germany, Fiji, Mauritius, Barbados, and Trinidad and Tobago. Other initiatives include the development of an MSc program in renewable energy technology in collaboration with Mona, Cave Hill, Flensburg University in Germany, and CARICOM. Dr. Haraksing also uses the numerous contacts she makes through her public service activities to secure internships, international collaborations, and short-term placements for UE students. In addition to her activities in renewable energy, Dr. Haraksing has been involved as chair of the Trinidad and Tobago Mathematics Olympiad for 22 years involving thousands of students. She has served as a leader of medal-winning National Mathematics Olympiad teams for the past 19 years and is director and treasurer of the International Mathematics Foundation. Vice-Chancellor, this is but a taste. The list of Dr. Haraksing's activities in the public sphere goes on, but I, unlike Dr. Haraksing, am not running on perpetual energy. Therefore, I will stop here and present Dr. Indra Haraksing, the deserving candidate for the Vice-Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Public Service. Professor John Agard, Principal Investigator on behalf of the Project for Ecosystem Services, St Augustine Campus. Excellence in International Collaboration, Globalisation Award. Vice-Chancellor, in 2015, a landscape painting by Van Gogh was auctioned for $66 million, prompting Achim Steiner, the executive director of the UN Environmental Program, to write, "If 66 million gets you a painting of a row of poplars, what price tag do you place on the poplars themselves? For that matter, how do you value the entire forest, or a mangrove swamp, a grassland?" End of quote. How much are ecosystems really worth? Thanks to Professor John Agard and his colleagues on the Project for Ecosystem Services, or PRO-EcoServe, we now know that if Trinidad's northern range were to charge us for its soil retention services, we could expect to pay about $622 million TT dollars annually. Suddenly, investing in measures to reduce deforestation seems a really attractive and cost-effective option, particularly when you consider that soil retention is just one of the many ecosystem services provided by the Northern Range. In addition to preventing landslips and flooding, such ecosystems provide food, water, medicines, wood, and other craft materials. They facilitate pollination, regulate the climate, and offset climate change. Others, like mangroves and coral reefs, buffer against hurricane storm surges. PRO-EcoServe, for example, has estimated that coral reefs provide about $50 million of shoreline protection services annually to the Trinidad and Tobago national economy. Many ecosystems provide recreation, sustain livelihoods, and attract revenue-earning activities like tourism. Sustainable development is only possible if ecosystems are taken into consideration. Assigning quantitative values to these services not only makes them difficult to overlook, but facilitates integration into decision-making processes that are so often driven by dollars and cents. PRO-EcoServe was a global initiative that aimed to better integrate ecosystem assessment and economic valuation of ecosystem services into poverty reduction and national sustainable development planning. This $6 million GF trust-funded project involved 5 collaborating countries: Trinidad and Tobago, Chile, South Africa, Lesotho, and Vietnam. It was designed to develop methods for economic valuations of services from contrasting ecosystems. Trinidad and Tobago provided the small tropical island perspective with studies on tropical forests, freshwater wetlands, and coral reefs. Chile targeted the Atacama Desert, the driest place in the world. The team from South Africa and Lesotho carried out field research on big game reserves, while in Vietnam, mangrove swamps were the focus. PRO-EcoServe was coordinated by the UNEP Division of Environmental Policy Implementation in Nairobi, Kenya. The collaborating agencies were the Center for Advanced Studies in Arid Zones in Chile, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research in South Africa, Vietnam's Institute of Strategy and Policy on Natural Resources and Environment, and their Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, and in Trinidad and Tobago, the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development, and the University of the West Indies. The project's steering committee also included representation from governments, NGOs, universities, and research institutions from Sri Lanka, Spain, Brazil, Denmark, and the USA, as well as other UN bodies such as the World Bank. John Agard, Professor of Tropical Island Ecology and Director of the UWI St Augustine Campus Office of Research, Development and Knowledge Transfer, was the principal investigator at UWI and the national coordinator on behalf of the government of Trinidad and Tobago. The rest of the UWI team comprised PhD students Maurice Rawlins, Lena Demperwolf, and Jason Alemu, who together did most of the field and technical work. Also, Dr. Azad Mohammed, Dr. Luke Rosta, and Mr. Anton Manu and Mrs. Leanne Bedu. Mrs. Keisha Garcia provided administrative support, and bursary support was provided by Mr. John Ramnanan and Mr. Kevin Kalu. In addition to their partners in the 5 collaborating countries, the UWI team brought in expertise as needed from Costa Rica, Australia, Israel, the US, and the UK. They also received co-financing from the University of Oxford's Darwin Project. Pro-EcoServe successfully facilitated policymakers in 5 countries to access scientific information on how ecosystem services impact human welfare and development, and has increased technical capability available to decision and policy makers. The project outcomes are also feeding into global networks such as the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services. In Trinidad and Tobago, in addition to ecosystem service mapping and valuation studies, in addition to ecosystem service mapping and valuation studies on sediment retention and water purification by the Northern Range, studies were also carried out on pollination, habitat quality, and carbon sequestration at Nariva and other sites. In Tobago, coastal vulnerability was studied. The UWI team was commended for excellent partnerships built with the local communities and for the level of uptake by stakeholders. For example, Pro-EcoServe was co-opted by the Government Development Planning Steering Committee and successfully got ecosystem services included in the National Spatial Development Strategy of Trinidad and Tobago, which is to be executed as a requirement of spatial planning legislation before Parliament. There has also been uptake of new tools and approaches by the Town and Country Planning Division, and Pro-EcoServe helped to spawn 2 additional funded projects targeting integration of ecosystem services and biodiversity into national planning and ensuring that all major ecosystems in the country are covered. Throughout, the UWI team maintained excellent communications with stakeholders using a variety of media, including a highly commended website. The UWI's logo appeared on 200 reports and 90 presentations made at the UN and at scientific conferences on 5 continents. A truly global project of local relevance with global impact that showcased the best of the UWI worldwide. Vice-Chancellor, I am pleased to present Professor John Agard on behalf of the Project for Ecosystem Services for the Vice-Chancellor's Award for Excellence in International Collaboration, the Globalisation Award. Professor Alafia Samuels, Principal Investigator, on behalf of the evaluation of the CARICOM Heads of Government 2007 Port of Spain Non-Communicable Diseases Summit Declaration from the George Allen Chronic Disease Research Center, Cave Hill Campus. For multi-campus research collaboration, the One-UWI Award. Vice-Chancellor. In 2007, an historic declaration was issued by the CARICOM Heads of Government at their special regional summit in Port of Spain. The declaration consisted of 15 mandates addressing the Caribbean region's greatest regional health challenge and was entitled Uniting to Stop the Epidemic of Chronic Non-Communicable Diseases, or NCDs. 7 years later, the UWI was asked by PAHO WHO and CARICOM to evaluate the response to the 2007 declaration's mandates in all 20 CARICOM member states. The resulting evaluation became the largest NCD research project ever undertaken in the Caribbean, a multi-campus, multidisciplinary collaboration on a topic of quite literally vital importance to the political process and health outcomes of the region. It is a remarkable achievement described by Vice-Chancellor Professor Sir Hilary Beckles as a seminal research project. The 3-year project was led by Principal Investigator Professor T. Alafia Samuels and Co-Principal Investigator Professor Nigel Unwin of the George Allen Chronic Disease Research Center in Barbados. A specialist team from the UWI, Cave Hill, Mona, and St Augustine campuses was assembled. 15 experts in the fields of public health and epidemiology, health economics, and international relations. The project also partnered with 6 top researchers from 4 other regional organizations. Professor Sir George Allen, former Chancellor of the UWI, was the project advisor. Funded by a competitively won grant of 795,000 Canadian dollars from the Canadian International Development Research Centre, the project consisted of 6 research and 2 dissemination objectives. It was designed through a collaborative process involving all researchers in defining not only their own research areas, but also the overall design of the project in order to ensure cohesion and to promote innovation. To facilitate attainment of the project's goals and objectives, a steering committee made up of all researchers met monthly during the first 2 years to collectively review progress, receive and comment on each other's research, and to collaborate on its execution. In addition, a publications committee was established to oversee scholarly output of the project. The final year of the project focused on dissemination of the evaluation's findings. A structured, multifaceted plan ensured that the results were distributed throughout the region and to all segments of society, from heads of government to the man on the street. The dissemination plan proved to be exceptionally effective and was facilitated by an excellent project website, including testimonials, fact sheets, and a freely downloadable PowerPoint presentation of the project's results. There was also a highly visible social media presence on Facebook and Twitter. Across the Caribbean, there was widespread media coverage of the project's findings. Last but not least, in 2016, a communique in response to the evaluation was issued at the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting. This project manifestly epitomizes everything that the One-UWI concept stands for. Vice-Chancellor Beckles puts it thus, quote, "The survival and development of our region depend on our ability to think and act regionally. The resources we have at our command are a regional endowment entrusted to us so that we may confront regional challenges and find solutions that are available to all of us. Our teaching, research, consultancies, operational planning, strategic choices, and social engagements reflect these imperatives. We must strive to achieve a unity of purposeful action and positive spirit that emanates from the rich cultural and geographic diversity of our region." End of quote. Vice-Chancellor, the unity of purposeful action and positive spirit in this project is outstanding and is clear for all to see. There can therefore be no doubt that the evaluation of the CARICOM Heads of Government 2007 Port of Spain Non-Communicable Diseases Summit Declaration is the ideal recipient for the inaugural Vice-Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Multi-Campus Research Collaborations, the One-UWI Award. I present Professor Alafia Samuels to accept the award on behalf of the research team.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure if you indulge me a bit, and I liken the performance of a public orator and a debater. If I were to use a cricket analogy, she would have had a century not out in both innings. Vice-Chancellor, we thank you too, sir. We now have a musical interlude. We have distinguished pianist Natasha Joseph playing High Mass. And immediately thereafter, replying on behalf of the awardees would be Dr. Indra Harak Singh.
Well, I don't know if I can match the high mass. Chancellor, Mr. Robert Bermudez, and Mrs. Usha Rani Maraj, Vice-Chancellor, Sir Hilary Beckles, Mr. Ewart Williams, the Chair of Campus Council, the distinguished, very distinguished awardees here this evening. You all know who they are. Pro Vice-Chancellor for Graduate Studies and Research, Professor Dale Weber. Pro Vice-Chancellor for Planning, Professor Denzel Williams. Professor Eudine Barito, Pro Vice-Chancellor and Campus Principal, Cave Hill. Professor Archibald MacDonald, Pro Vice-Chancellor and Campus Principal, Mona Campus. Our own Campus Principal, Professor Brian Copeland. Our Deputy Principal, Professor Indar Ramnarayan. University Registrar, Mr. Will Eiton. Campus Registrar, Mr. Richard Saunders. Mrs. Andrea Taylor Hanna. Campus Bursar, Campus Librarian, Mr. Sudin. And I would like to take this time to say, Professor Wayne Hunt, it's so lovely to see you here. Deans from all the faculties, including my own dean, other members of senior management and staff of the UWI, members of the public and private sectors, members of the media, and specially invited guests, and especially family members of all the awardees, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to respond on behalf of the recipients of the Vice-Chancellor's Awards for Excellence. It is indeed a distinct honor to be given this privilege. We are all thrilled to be receiving these prestigious awards from our university for excellence in so many distinct disciplines, reinforcing the fact that the UWI has recognized persons achieving excellence in their area of work. This certainly gives motivation to continue forging ahead and also recognizes the need for further generating a performance-based culture here at the UWI, so staff are rewarded for their hard work. Modern outward-thinking universities recognize and reward excellence in performance in their staff, as the UWI is doing here today. To make the UWI the center for excellence that it is requires a multitude of skills and disciplines. The Vice-Chancellor's Awards here today try to capture all of this in what we are celebrating today. The thematic areas all enable the university to fulfill its role within the society, particularly now when the effective use of knowledge is so critical. Teaching is a significant component of our jobs here at the university. We train thousands and thousands of students in numerous disciplines, and well-read and trained students are the products of our university. When students go out into the world of work, we expect them to shine, and we therefore must deliver in accordance with this objective. Teaching is no longer a chalk and talk thing. We must continuously be employing new and innovative teaching methods. On a personal note, the recipient of this award, my dear friend, Dr. Jacqueline Bridge, she has a history of being an excellent and motivational teacher. And you've heard a lot about that, but I have to add my piece. Just last year, she got the Guardian Premium Teaching Award, so getting the VC Award for teaching is no surprise. When you hear her students talk about Dr. Bridge, you simply have to smile as you watch the faces of the students light up. I now have the pleasure of teaching some of your students, Dr. Bridge, in the Masters in Renewable Energy Technology program, and I can assure you that they are well prepared for this new endeavor. The category of research is critical for our university to be competitive globally. It is actually a component of all these awards. Research outputs and accomplishments not only distinguish universities from each other, but they are important for finding solutions to chronic problems on a global level. They are important for emerging scholars and leaders, teachers, technicians, doctors, scholars of every discipline emerge from our university. We are very much aware we are very much aware that many, if not most, of the Caribbean leaders are the fruits of the UWI. One of our leaders has just left, the Honorable Dr. Lovell Francis. It is good to have him here. In an academic environment, it's very important to incentivize and reward staff for the work that they do, especially when they go beyond the call of duty. In order to compete in the very competitive world of research, we have to continually encourage staff to write new grants and develop new research collaborations. Additional to these awards, the UWI needs to develop other innovative ways of incentivizing staff in order to ensure that the research output continues to grow in future years in line with the AAA strategy, which all our pro-vice-chancellors and principals are currently rolling out across all the campuses. Professor Christopher Ura, he intimated recognition through this award by the UWI that the research I do is both outstanding and impactful means so much to me. This award incentivizes me to continue to pursue research opportunities that will make a real difference to Caribbean lives. This award was won jointly by Professors Christopher Ura and Ian Hamilton. This year, 2 new awards were added, as you heard, the One-UWI Award and the Globalisation Award. Dr. Alafia Samuels is being honored with the One-UWI Award. It must be noted that research is very much a group effort. For all the awards today, teamwork and collaboration are critical in achieving what we have today. The research and other awards could not have been completed without the help from many, many persons, secretarial staff, technicians, postgraduate students, project management team, and of course, the support of all our families. Research is a team sport and cannot be carried out in isolation. Many have contributed to these awards, and these contributions are hereby acknowledged today and are very much appreciated by all of us. We must always remember that we are the University of the West Indies. We must always strive to keep this facet of the university alive, while at the same time maintaining the distinctive features of the individual campuses. Receiving the Globalisation Award, Professor John Agard says, I am pleased to be the recipient of the first VC Award of Globalization, for Globalization, as it seems to finally indicate that UWI recognizes that internationalization is critical for its survival going forward. And I'm quoting him. On behalf of my academic colleagues, I dare to state that UWI is no longer a quaint company of scholars' regional institution, feeling beholden to its visitor, the Queen of England, who graciously bestowed it with a royal charter authorizing it to grant degrees. With about 50,000 students and faculty from more than 40 countries, and with collaborative links with 160 universities globally, it should continue to concentrate on projecting itself as an accessible, aligned, agile, global teaching, research, and innovation, and entrepreneurial institution open for business. In the area of public service, yours truly, performing all my normal duties here in the physics department and the university, plus reaching out at home far and wide has not been easy. A great part of my extra work dealt with seeking collaboration with the UWI, with many international organizations, and finding opportunities for students. And while I have dealt with the general public at large, 2 of my main focus areas, as you have heard, have been working with young people through the Trinidad and Tobago Mathematics Olympiad and extending the service to the International Mathematics Olympiad. And the other area, working for energy security and preservation of our very fragile ecosystem here in the Caribbean region through the development and the use of energy technologies throughout the Caribbean region. This included my work with CARICOM, the various embassies, in particular the Federal Republic of Germany, a consortium of universities and organizations such as the IDB and the World Bank. The UWI's 7 priority areas are linked very closely to the priorities identified by CARICOM, so it is very important that we keep these links alive. Wherever I go, I'm searching out opportunities for my students. My work in these areas has been tireless, but very rewarding. I want to thank my family for their patience, tolerance, and support for all the late nights I spend in the office. And yes, you were right. Trying to ensure that all my work gets done before I retire for the night. And I really would like to say thank you to the UWI campus security for always ensuring that I reach home safely. Much love and appreciation go out to my daughter, Rajini, and now her husband, Vijay Pradeep. My husband, Kusha, himself a former recipient of the same VC Award for Excellence in Public Service. Vice-Chancellor, to recognize outstanding achievements by academic staff members in the areas of teaching, research, service to university community, contribution to public service, and all-round excellence in a combination of 2 or more areas, and to note that half of the awardees are women, are most gratifying. We have finally reached. I will end with the following. Robert Louis Stevenson, who says, "Everyone who got where he is had to begin where he was." And this Chinese proverb, which I like, "The gem cannot be polished without friction, nor man perfected without trials." I'm sure all of you awardees will agree with me that we have all had our trials in achieving our goals. So, dream your dream, reach for the stars, no matter who or what stands in your way. Live your life, love your work, and never give up on life until life gives up on you. And that's me. Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, other dignitaries, my esteemed colleagues, friends, and family, on behalf of my fellow recipients of the VC Awards, I thank you for your continuous support, encouragement, creating the space for us to grow intellectually and otherwise. Vice-Chancellor, this is definitely one of the greatest and memorable moments of my life. I can remember 2 such memorable occasions: my marriage, the birth of my daughter, and now my new son-in-law. I am sure that this applies to all the awardees. It's definitely one of our greatest and memorable moments. This is the high point of the UWI careers of all 6 of us awardees here. This will definitely have a profound impact on all our lives. We thank you so much for bestowing this honor on all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for celebrating this special moment with all of us here, awardees here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Harak Singh, on behalf of your colleague awardees. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of the formal part of this evening's proceedings. Please allow me to say my thank yous before we recess. First of all, could you stand and give our 6 awardees a big round of applause, please? Thank you. A big thank you to our host principal and his office and his team for having us at this very wonderful venue. And thanks in advance for the cocktails that we would enjoy after. thanks to our Vice-Chancellor, in whose honor these awards are given and granted. Special thanks to Pro Vice-Chancellor Weber and his team, who every year have, the team has to go through the arduous task after it's either finance or one of those long meetings. You go back to this other long meeting and try and get the awardees out. But it's a pleasant task, because Dale always remarks on how enjoyable it is to see the wonderful work that's coming out of our university. A big thanks to our soloist, pan soloist, Natasha. I hear that she is if you didn't pick it up in her dexterity, I hear that she's Boogsy's personal protege. Campus Registrar Saunders and his team, and our team from marketing, our security personnel, our ushers, and everybody who went and made an effort or made an input into making this evening's event the success that it is. We would allow our platform party to recess after we pick up our Chancellor and our awardees. There's a formal photo session as we go down, and you're all invited to join us for cocktails outside. A big thank you again for being such a wonderful audience. Thank you. Also thank you to our audience in UWI TV.
And that brings us to the end of our live stream of the 2016-2017. And that brings us to the end of our live stream of the 2016-2017 edition of the Vice-Chancellor's Awards for Excellence. On behalf of Vice-Chancellor Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, the administration and staff of the University of the West Indies, particularly here at the St Augustine Campus, thank you for celebrating with us. We hope you enjoyed being part of the ceremony. I want to also invite you to tune in right here over the next 3 days for the live stream of the St. Augustine Campus graduation ceremonies. There'll be 6 ceremonies on from tomorrow, October 26th to 28th. That's 2 ceremonies each day at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. respectively, streaming live on UWI TV. So all of you, families, friends who want to watch loved ones graduate can share in the moment too, as though you're right here with them. Don't you just love technology? Thank you again for joining us, and continue to have a wonderful evening. Creative and professional staff.
So it is therefore a